A teenager in a Manchester United hoodie pointed first, nudging his mum, who was too busy trying to get the perfect selfie with the palace behind her to notice. A few feet down the rope line, a toddler let out a giggle, assuming the shiny object was a toy someone had dropped. But to Captain Alan Whitaker, it was neither trivial nor replaceable. It was the only piece of a life lost far too young, a life that had shielded his own. And now it was lying out in the open, exposed, like a wound reopened. Alan leaned forward instinctively, hands trembling, trying to summon the willpower to reach it. But his body rebelled. His knees, stiff from the cold and age, refused to budge. His fingers reached into the void, only to fall short by inches. The medal remained where it fell, glistening under the sun, surrounded by silence that had suddenly replaced the usual buzz of tourist chatter. And then came the moment no one expected. Lance Sergeant Edward Trent heard the clatter. Even over the steady hum of the crowd, it cut through like a cymbal crash. His eyes flicked downward, without even meaning to. Just a brief glance toward the source of the disturbance. There it was. A silver medal with a ribbon. The kind you don't just drop. His training screamed at him to stay still. Protocol didn't allow for deviation. He was a Coldstream Guard. Stillness, discipline, silence. These were his commandments. But war had taught him a different code. When something falls, you pick it up. When someone's hurting, you act. And when honour lands in the dust, you don't just look away. His heart beat faster, his boot pausing mid-step. He broke rhythm. For a split second, he hesitated. The memory of Helmond hovered over his shoulders like a ghost. There, he'd once sprinted into open fire to retrieve a fallen soldier's ID tags. Not because of orders, but because no one deserved to be lost without a name. And here it was again, though this battlefield was ceremonial marble and polished stone. Edward turned his head, not far, just enough to locate the old man in the wheelchair. Their eyes met. And in that quiet exchange, no words were needed. Alan's face said it all. The fear of disrespect, the weight of years, the ache of memories that never healed. The look wasn't asking for help. It was apologizing for needing it. With measured precision, Edward took one step away from the prescribed path. The air changed. The tourists noticed immediately. The living statue was moving. A collective hush swept through the crowd like a breeze through tall grass. Cameras lowered, children stilled. Something sacred was happening, and everyone could feel it. Edward bent down slowly, almost ceremonially, and retrieved the medal. He didn't rush. He didn't fumble. He lifted it the way one might lift a crown or a wounded friend, gently, respectfully, with both hands. The ribbon draped over his fingers like silk. He stepped forward again, approaching the rope line. A supervisor in the wings stiffened, unsure whether to intervene, but the tension didn't escalate. Even those trained in the rigidity of protocol understood. This was not a breach. It was an exception born of something deeper than rules. As Edward reached the barrier, he bent down again, not stiffly, but with purpose, and extended the medal toward Alan with an open palm. The old veteran looked up, tears in his eyes, breath caught in his chest. He didn't reach out right away. The moment demanded stillness, demanded reverence. And when he did finally take the medal back, it was with both hands, their fingers brushed, just for a second. But it was enough. "Thank you," Alan whispered, barely audible. Edward didn't respond. He couldn't, not in words, not here. But his eyes, steely beneath the brim of his bearskin hat, softened. Then, without breaking gaze, he stepped back into position, turtled, and resumed his march as though nothing had happened. But everything had. The crowd broke into restrained applause. Not the boisterous kind, but soft, reverent, like the end of a hymn. Phones went up again, not for spectacle, but to capture something real, something raw. A moment where the invisible curtain between service and ceremony, between duty and humanity, had been briefly pulled aside. Ruth returned from her phone call to find her father wiping his eyes, the medal back in its box, now held with even more care than before. "Dad?" she asked gently, crouching beside his chair. He looked at her and smiled, a real, weathered smile, not one of obligation, but of relief. "He picked it up," he said simply, like a prayer. Later that day, footage of the moment began to circulate online. The comments poured in. That guard knew exactly what that medal meant. Some rules deserve to be broken. I've never cried watching a Royal Guard before, until today. Military groups shared it, veterans' pages praised it. Even the official royal account reposted the clip with a caption that read, "Honour comes in many forms. Some you wear, some you return." Back at the barracks, Edward didn't speak much about the incident. He didn't need to. His fellow guards knew. A few clapped him on the back. One left a folded note on his bunk that read, "That was the bravest thing you've done in uniform. And I know your record, and for Alan, something shifted too." That night he placed the medal, still polished, still pristine, back into its box. But he didn't tuck it away in a drawer. Instead, he left it on his nightstand where the morning sun could catch it. For the first time in 4 decades, he didn't see it as a symbol of guilt. He saw it as a reminder of courage. Keith's, yes, but also his own. And now, Edward's too, because that morning outside Buckingham Palace on a day meant for rigid ceremony and polished boots, a soldier chose to bend, not to break tradition, but to honour what truly mattered. And in doing so, he reminded everyone watching that even the strongest uniforms can hold the softest hearts.